to all the dispossessed youth of Africa, for perpetuation of communion with ancestral spirits through the fight for African freedom, and in the firm faith that the dead, the living, and the unborn will unite to build the destroyed shrines. Selah. Hello and welcome, family, to another episode of Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life of truly, family, on your own terms, in your own narrative, family, because every story now, I mean, it was like this before, but now we're really seeing it, has an agenda. Every single story has an agenda. Everyone wants you to get into their narrative because that gives their narrative power. And there's a mega war going on within Europe, but they don't want people to know. Like, Russia's unleashing some crazy things on Europe, family. And they're fighting amongst themselves. You know, I stopped doing news, so much, but definitely I've gotten a lot of requests to kind of talk about what's really going on in Burkina Faso. You know, I stopped doing this Wake Up Africa news because I feel our people, or at least the people who are reporting these things, they're not giving that deeper, impression of what's really going on. They'll give you a great speech by Museveni. They'll give you a great quote by Kagame, but they'll leave it at that because that's what the people will listen to, but they're not going deeper into some of the things and why they're happening, etc., etc. It's all like, let's just get the views, when we need to be moving beyond the views to the revolution, family, the revolution of our people's minds, and telling the story not for clickbait, but to expand the consciousness and to help energetically assist what's happening on the ground. So, by now you guys probably already know, there was this big coup in Burkina Faso, and they ousted the military ruler Damiba, who has allegedly, fled to Togo. And hey, the guy who took over him is like a young man, Well, let me not even say that. Togo said they took him in for the sake of regional peace. And the new military ruler, Captain Ibrahim Traore, urged cabinet ministries to move faster to tackle urgent problems. And, word on the street, or what's really going on, is a lot of people felt that Damiba had been infiltrated by France, even though he was trained by Russia, but they felt like he was cozying up too much to France. There was even rumors, actually, that when the coup happened, he fled to the French embassy. And so guys attacked and totally decimated the French embassy. Guys don't even want to hear France right now in West Africa. Guys are tired, man. Guys are tired of France. So they decimated the French embassy, trying to find this Damiba guy, And, in a recording widely shared on social media, the Damiba, the guy who was thrown out during the coup, said he wished Burkina Faso's new leaders every success. And it's not clear whether he was alone. And, basically the government said, that they agreed to kind of step down and let the new leadership in, because, as long as they agreed that the country would go back to a democracy, I think by July 2024 or something, sometime in 2024, it would return to a civilian government. But family, there was also a lot of like Russian vibes there. And this is a situation where you can see that you think that these are coups and revolutions just happening naturally by the people and for the people. But usually there's other hands, because let me tell you, countries like France and the divided kingdom are vicious. For them to be able to colonize a people, there are no lengths they won't stop at. And so there's this silent and very deadly war, divide and conquer vibes, that France has been playing in West Africa to try and retain power. Because guess who's been allowed in? Russia. And, who knows? And Russia also has been dropping some bombs. I'll definitely talk about that. Putin just, coming out and saying what we all know. But we all get excited when those kind of things happen. But even the international press is saying, Russia and France are engaged in a battle for influence in several former French colonies in West and Central Africa. And they said at the weekend there were attacks on French institutions after it was reported that the ousted, the ousted leader, Damiba, was sheltered at a French military base in the capital, Ouagadougou of Burkina Faso. France Foreign Ministry said they were the work of hostile demonstrators who had been manipulated by a disinformation campaign against us. Some in Ouagadougou, listen to this, chanted pro-Russian slogans and waved Russian, flags as they greeted the new junta leader and his convoy on Sunday. And they said, Russian military contractors are said to be active in neighboring Mali after French forces pulled out following a row with the country's military leaders. And the Russians are accused by rights groups of committing, which of them is not committing human rights abuses? Come on. But family, like at the core of this is, guys are leaning heavily on Russia because our governments have left themselves so weak. Begging is a terrible thing, family. Because as you're begging and trying to please, you don't build up your people. At least if we were, if our presidents were begging and pretending to Babylon and actually doing something to prepare the next generation, we could do it. But now, it's like we're back in the Cold War era, when we had when a lot of dictators emerged in across Africa during the 80s, the Mugabes and the Mois of this world, where they survived because they played Russia against Europe and kind of found, then it was against the divided states, where they found a way to kind of, make them knock heads. But it's like, I guess if they want France gone, they have to kind of welcome Russia in. They're even paying for the quote-unquote Wagner Group. But is this the only way? Because, they say the enemy of my enemy is my friend for a season. I always add that, for a season, family. But this is where corruption leaves our people. In desperate situations where in order to get rid of one master, you almost have to get another master to come in and support you. And Europe is at war now with Russia, and Europe has been applying a lot of pressure on African countries to choose either Russia or Europe. And the whole Ukraine was supposed to be the poster boy of Europe, and they mashed it up with all the racism the world saw. So that kind of even helped it totally changed the narrative. Because Africa and Ukraine didn't even make sense for Africa to support. And African leaders knew, because they like to do things behind the scenes without us really noticing. They want us to notice when all hell has broken loose, or where the deals have been signed and they've left office and they've made their money. So right now, it's a thing between Russia and France. And what we should be even sending our energy towards or praying for is for the spirit of the ancestors, the ancestors who were generals, who were mighty kings, who ruled mighty armies, to inspire these young captains, these young army folk who just want to see things get better quicker. They're saying, stop wasting your time. We want results. That's basically why that's why they overthrew the Damiba guy, or Daiba, or however you say his name. And the reason I'm always like, however you say his name, is not to be rude, but family, it's all characters. This is a game of charades, literally. This is chess. It ain't checkers, man. Many of our presidents out here playing checkers, just looking crazy. At this day and age, you guys don't even have a Pan-Africanist as an advisor? Come on now. Anyway, I just hope that in the end, Africa wins. Whether they have to do it on Russia's back, whether they have to pit Russia and France against each other. I just hope that ultimately, whoever is taking the leadership thing, that they've done their history, that they've studied. I mean, France is responsible for over 22 coups, family. Or is it assassinations? You can see it here in Africa. We don't even question that. It's the Italian incoming prime minister, a woman, I'll do a whole separate show on that, who even brought it up. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. Until next time, family. Tuko pamoja.